the more detail in the map you want to have, the more assets you're going to need, and so on and so forth. So the bigger the game, the more assets that are in there, right? You follow me so far. So yeah, I'm running in. Yeah, by the way, that giant waterfall way out there, which can I see? That's a kilometer away, give or take, right? Look at the detail on that thing. That's an ikran. That's my ikran right here. That's another asset, and it actually has multiple assets on it because she has decorations and a saddle and all that stuff. All those things are assets. Like, and if it moves, it has to have an animation to it too. Well, yeah, and maybe not animations. That actually depends. You see that plant moving right there? That could be a preset animation, but I know it's not. That's actually physics. That's a whole other thing. The engine takes care of that. But basically, what they do is they attach what is called a material a shader and a material to that asset. They basically tell the engine, this is an object made of this material, and it reacts this way to certain physics, like simulated wind. And so here there's a simulated breeze going through, and so that plant moves accordingly. If the wind blows harder, it animates and emulates the physical movement of plants in the wind, right? Now, these can be simulated. That you can make a fake animation on it, but that would actually be trickier and wouldn't look as realistic. But anyway, we digress a bit there. Now, to again show scale, we're getting on the Ikran and we're flying.
Okay, I'm an ass. I was muted the entire time and didn't even realize it.
Oh yeah, hold on, time, because I'm doing the QA right now.
Yeah. No, I've got my
So
stream on yours, so that way everybody on my stream sees what you're showing and explaining.
gotcha. Oh yeah, that's right. Hold on. I forgot to knock. Sorry, man. 1 second, guys. It's gonna look choppy for a bit, but it is good because that way I gain height,
Yeah, hold on a
which
second,
is
chat.
necessary. Da-da-da. Come on, load quick. Today. All right, where are you?
Today, tomorrow, every day.
Oh, stop moving. Oh, this stupid thing. There we go. And I knocked.
And,
It is good because I need that altitude anyway.
okay, why is what the?
All right, here we go. Okay, so another little bit of perspective here. Um,
Okay, I'm gonna have to join up on you because for some reason it doesn't want to work for me.
no, I already set it up so you can join anytime. So yeah, guys, look, this is scale. You see right there? All those massive amount of assets right underneath, right, Purse? All those are individual trees, all of those archways, those are all made with multiple assets. Even those hover thingies over there, I forget what they're called. Oh god, where? Pull out your weapon, you dumbass. There we go. Anywho, all those effects are shaders and stuff like that, but you kind of get the point, right? So why am I making this all about the assets, and why do I keep talking about so many and pointing out so many different little bits and pieces in here? Well, in order to get something this big done, you need a huge team of, first of all, modelers, like artists that, well, concept artists first. They're the ones who draw these up. They draw up the literal the look and design of these in 2D or digital art, and they go through a few rounds of conceptual art to kind of decide what all the different plants are going to look like, right? And not just what they're going to look like, what they're going to look like in every state. So you see these heavily polluted and dying plants over here that are all like brown and in poor health. This game, the environment reacts a lot to everything around it. So if there's a lot of human factories and stuff around, there's a lot of pollution, and so everything around it gets polluted and dies, right? But once you start destroying those factories and stuff and cleaning the air and the environment, you start seeing everything more green. So there's that transition, right? And also night and day and the weather and all that. So you have to draw up concept art of what all of this will look like in all of those different states. And so you go through a few rounds of design, of conceptual design, before you even get to the 3D models. Even the waterfalls right here, right? There's the waterfall. Even that, the way that looks, this whole scene, the layout of the land, the biomes, those lily pads, the look and feel of all of this. They do massive concept art drawings of the whole landscape. Like from this point of view, if I go up here like this, they'll do a massive drawing of that scene, just the landscape, to kind of give the artists an idea of what it should look like, even the smoke plumes and everything. Then it passes on to the 3D artists, the modelers, and they will make 3D models bit by bit of everything I just showed you. And I'm skipping steps here and to try and keep this as short as possible because it is a lot.
It's gorgeous.
But they'll be doing that. Oh, they recreated Pandora. Period. End of story. I don't care how much you hate or don't hate Ubisoft. They make the best open world games.
Oh, no,
Period.
you will
Nobody's
never
been
hear
able
any
to beat
complaining
them.
from me. I love their work.
And this is my comments on Ubisoft as a developer, not as a company, because that's you guys know from talking to me. There's the company and the business side, and then there's the developer side, right? So you go through all that, and then the 3D artists create basically the big 3D shape thing that is every single one of these objects. And once they do a few rounds of that and they are happy with the objects and everything, then they go into texturing. And that's what makes basically everything look as organic as it does, right? Hold on. Let me get off here. Let me explain. So you see the literal texture of the leaves, the little details, the little blotches, different shades of green on them, different shades of brown and yellow and orange on the dried leaves, the patterns on the ground of the earth, the little bits of moss, these little clover-like plants here. The texture is what makes it look like that. They literally do a digital art, basically drawing of it, and they plaster that on the 3D model, and they scale it and they tweak it until it fits just right, and it makes it look real. Like a bigger model will be better. So you see those blotches and all that stuff, all the coloring and all the shading and all that stuff, that's done with 2D art, right? And they put it on the model. But the immediate question I get after that is, well, but what about the actual texturing that looks like it has a 3D effect to it, right? That's a 3D model, right? Well, if I squat right next to it, as you can see, it is not. You see, it is flat.
Yeah.
It looks like it's textured and shadowed and stuff like that, and technically it is, but this is one of those little tricks. See, if I see the edge, look at it from above, you see it's got all that texturing and stuff, but if I look at it right from the edge, it's completely flat. There is no texture. That's how good they are.
Talk about a
They
fucking
literally did it.
illusion.
Uh-huh. And no, this has gotten a lot better, and I'll go into that in a bit, but originally, like for the longest time, 3D textures do that effect. This is just 2D art making that three-dimensional effect. Hi, Time. So why are we watching Sarukage? Oh, says Otaku. but
Well,
it's not, huh?
he is
That's
giving
clever
a
trick. Yeah,
Q&A on Avatar right now for all of the graphics that you're seeing and the textures,
yeah,
everything. This is by Ubisoft, and it is fucking amazing. By all, because
yeah.
I am loving everything that he you're talking about, you're showing, and I
See,
that's why I had to show it on my stream, because it's like, okay, we hear you, but it's like, why are you talking about all this and we have no idea? It's like, because you're pointing it out in your stream, and it's like, no, we've got to actually see
yeah,
this.
exactly. So if you don't pay attention, it's designed to have, like Persephone, like Blake is saying, adds depth and texture, but it's just paint. Yes and no. So the first part is the texture. That's the 2D art that they plaster on this to make it look like that. And yeah, it has that three-dimensional look to it because of the shading and the gradient coloring and the techniques to make it look organic and stuff. But that's not the only reason. It's not just the 2D art. You see that shiny, like glossy gleam on it, and if you pay attention, you see the little bit of dew, like moisture rolling off of it. That, my friends, is called a shader. And a shader, without getting too technical, is literally like an invisible mesh you put on a 3D object, on a 3D asset, to create various kinds of effects, usually visual effects, right? Yeah. It's like doing washes and highlights on a minifigure. Yes, exactly. It has that, yeah. Avatar Frontier is a beautiful game. Don't get me wrong. I'm just confused. Yeah, Persephone asked what it takes and what goes into making a game this detailed and realistic and beautiful in terms of art in game dev, and that's what I'm going into. Person, at a glance, while you're running through it, it looks 3D, but when you're fully up close, it's 2D. Yeah, and only if I look at it at a certain very specific angle. Because if I'm here, if I stand here, you can still see the depth, right? You can still see depth. I look at it, see the little mott's in there and all that stuff. It's got shading. It's got it glistens and stuff. But if I get the exact right angle, like right here, where I know there's supposed to be something three-dimensional to it, there, and then I can, then the illusion is broken. But I have to know exactly what angle to look at it from.
And as game players
Now,
wouldn't know
back
that angle to look at.
most don't, and me as a game designer, unless I actually look for it, it's 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 designed to look that way no matter where you look at it from. So if you're not actually looking for it, you're not going to see it.
Exactly.
Uh, but the important part here is the shader. Like I said, it's like a mesh you put on the 3D object to create different effects. So that little effect of moisture rolling off the edge there, that's a shader, and it's animated, and it's on all the time. And especially you can put different shaders that change in state depending on the weather or whatever changes around. And also if what light is basically reflecting on it, and you see how I step on it, it deforms and stuff. The shader is designed, see that effect, that stretch effect that makes it like skin being stretched or stomped on, that's also done with a shader. All those wonderful effects, the little spores flying around it, that's a shader. All those visual 3D effects that you see in all games, most of them are shaders. The vast majority are shaders. It used to be animated sprites, but nowadays a shader lets you do so much more. And so that's how you get that glossy, like reflective effect from it. And that's in part also a combination of the shader and the material. There's a material shader and there's an effects shader, and all of that gets combined to create that full effect. Same thing with the tree bark here. You see the texturing that goes into the tree bark? It almost looks like you could scratch it. But if I look at the correct angle, I could probably break the illusion. If I look at like the moss there, it's kind of hard to see. But if I look at the moss at the right angle, you're gonna see that it's completely flat. There's no texture into it. That would require a whole other level of detail. But in certain parts, you can get away with it, and you can do this. We can do little tiny 3D models like this. See how it looks completely three-dimensional? But if I get into the right angle, you're going to see that those little leaves are those little twigs and stuff are completely flat. They are flat 3D objects that at most angles look completely three-dimensional. Give it depth. And that bit of moss right there where my reticle is, that is completely flat. That's a flat texture, just like this part right here. So now that we looked at it at a microscope, now we go back to everything else. Some things you cannot pull the full effect with, right? With just texturing and shaders. So when you do the 3D model, you do like this. You see these spikes on this particular plant. For models like this, you take bits like that, particularly pronounced shapes on a model, and you do shape those out, and you put them in there. It's the tiny minutia of details, like this groove here and those little modded texture sections of it. That's what you leave up to the textures. And the reason you do that is to reduce the complexity of the object so that you don't overload the system. Because the more complex the object is, the more processing power you're going to need to render all this massive forest at the same time. And again, this ties back into scale. The bigger the scale, the more power you need, the more manpower you need, the more detail you need. And oftentimes when you change your settings, your graphic settings in a game to run smoother on whatever your setup is. For example, if your setup cannot handle the ultra detail, when you lower that, it basically reduces the amount of objects it's rendering at the same time. It reduces the quality of the textures on them. It maybe remove those little mossy twigs I showed you over there. It may remove those altogether. Also that it can reduce the amount of overhead you need to run at a smooth frame rate. In a way, it artificially reduces the scale, right? And so to kind of demonstrate that, hold on. I'll go in here and I'll go to graphics. I have it set to custom because I like to. Oh, why do I have motion blur on? Turn that off. I hate motion blur.
Ugh.
So I have a lot of effects here. Everything's set to high, right? Shadow proxies I have turned off. Extra streaming distance, whatever. Object detail is at max.
You've also got the setup for having a high, everything high anyway.
Of course, but that's the thing. Let's take the object detail, for example. If I were to reduce this to 0 and I apply the settings, yes, let's go back and see what it looks like. Do we notice a difference?
Oh dear God!
How much more geometric it looks like. That reduced the complexity of all 3D objects. So they're more jagged. See, they're more primitive looking in terms of shape. Look at the textures here.
It's like you're going back to polygons.
Remember those? Yeah, well, they are polygons either way.
Yeah.
It's just you have fewer polygons per model. See, everything's a lot easier. You can tell this is just a texture now. That the illusion is pretty much broken, right? I'm gonna try to see. Oh, go back here. See this. See how the complexity goes away at a short distance. If I approach it and I get really close, we get the complexity back and all that wonderful detail. Hey, Scobray! Oh my God, insult right off the bat. But if I walk away, you'll see. Oh, here we go. A boil. Holy fuck.
We can't hear it on
Jesus
our
Christ,
end, so
Scobray.
damn.
Yeah, but you can read it. But yeah, Purse, look. See the complexity, like the geometric complexity of it. As I walk away, you'll see that it became simpler. There's less geometric detail to it. I step back a little further and it's gonna do it again. And there goes the little details. Everything starts disappearing. So there's literally less. Now, if I go back and go to graphics, and that's just the object detail. Everything, if I lower everything else to 0, it's gonna look like freaking Minecraft, or at least by comparison. Right?
Yeah.
Now that we did that, we go back here and see. Look how much more detailed and smooth that is by comparison. Now look at all the rain around me. See all that rain? And you see the little water dripping off of the plants and stuff? That's shaders. That's all shaders. The little splashes of the water drops, that's all shaders. And now that other plant that looked like a really squared off polygon, it's back to being very round. See? And see the moving. And if I get really close to it, then you start, oop, damn it, got too close. You probably noticed how it's a lot easier to tell that those are not actual like fibers in it, and it's just a very, very detailed flat texture, right? That's kind of wrapped around the object. So hopefully that gives you a rough idea on just how much work just goes into just one of these things.
And this is
one
why,
tree.
Yeah, this is why these games take this long to actually make, because of all of the details, all the tiny ass details that they're putting into this. Why it takes like 6 to 8 years to make one of these games.
Between 5 and 6 is the average for a game like this. It can take up to 7 or 8 depending on the size of the company. If somebody like Ubisoft can do a game like this in 6, because they have a lot of personnel and a lot of very experienced developers and designers, right? Yeah, but you still send. Oh. Anyway, so Purse, so far, have I been able to answer most of your question? Because I know it's a very general question with very nuanced answers. I'm just making sure that you follow and that there's nothing you want like expanded upon. No. Let's see. I'm trying to think of it. Oh, the fog too. That's the mostly managed by the engine. These movements, this is the physics. It is kind of sloppy. A lot of people would say it's sloppy, but you know what? At this scale, you have to keep things like that simple, because it's just it would melt your computer. But if you go at a distance, see, it looks a lot better. If you're up close to it, the illusion's broken. And remember, this is a game that was made years ago. Technology has improved even further since then. This is another visual. This is another. These are water physics combined with shaders. And yes, each one of those little flowers is an individual asset in here, like that. You see? Damn. And the water effect is a visual filter that you put on a player that takes effect when you break the water. The fog is a 3D effect by the engine. Yeah, you have. Thank you. All right. So yeah, now that we've established the scale of this on just the graphic design aspect of it. Oh, there's my destination. We're at least gonna do this one part of this mission. Let me get that off so I can move faster.
Okay, so I'm gonna be switching my camera back to our side, and to let Sarukage know as to what's going on, because I was actually going to be doing that before. So I'm gonna be going over to the live side for my live side for this. Okay, so a little update as to what's going on when it comes to the HVAC system, the machines that are outside of our setup and everything.
Right.
Okay, so all of that has been cleared up, and
all right,
they took samples to make sure that there was no mold or formaldehyde or whatever the hell that shit is that they're calling it in the walls or anything. There is none. We've been cleared of all that.
Okay.
However, the machines will be here for quite a few more days, whether we like it or not, namely because of the fact that they are going to be coming in and doing some construction on the area around, on the floor around where the HVAC is. The floor and the wall, all of it is getting cut out. because
Holy shit.
yeah, because apparently there was water damage to all of it, and the end result is the fact that it all actually has to be cut out and replaced, all that stuff. We had soundproofing that was under there, and all that has to go. So they're cutting out the floor, they're cutting out the wall, where all of the affected, where all the water damage was affected and everything, and it's basically gone. They're starting tomorrow morning at 8 Pacific, and let's just say the fact that since I work late, quote unquote work late here, I'm glad I have a new set of earbuds that allow me to be able to sleep at night, because otherwise it's like all in my ears.
Oh my god. I bet.
And
That must be wonderful.
it's gonna be the kick is the fact that this is gonna be going through the entire the rest of the fucking week, all through the rest of the week,
Oh, damn.
and through the fucking weekend.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, Amethyst almost wanted them to start on Monday, but it's like, no, I don't want these machines here any longer than we need them to be, because we've been having to
Right.
wrangle up the cats every night to bring them into the bedroom, because one of the devices takes. Okay, so we have two devices that are there. One that's a fan that's been pushing the moisture into the air, and another machine that's been sucking the moisture out of the air into. Basically through a tube and into a sink that's in our bathroom, to be able to take the moisture out that's around that area. The only thing is the fact that any moisture that happens to be in the house without doors being closed also gets affected as well. And so the end result is that we've been bringing our kitties into the bedroom, closing the door at night, and running running one of those machines, because I forgot to close the room door, but one of those machines that keeps the room hydrated while the air is still going on. My mind is blanking as to what it's called, but we have one of those running at night, so that way the moisture doesn't get sucked out of our air, so that way we can actually breathe without coughing ourselves to death. And
Yeah, that's preferable.
yeah, they're going to be putting plastic up, the whole thing. It's going to get turned into a whole big fucking mess here. And I figured I would let you know, as well as our chats know, as to what is going on. They did fix earlier today. They did fix the sewer lines out here for our complex. So that has been dealt with. And around here has just been a royal fucking mess. I feel for you. They've been doing
sounds like an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lady Gaga said she feels for you. Oh yeah, they have been doing construction on the apartment directly above us because they moved out, and a new couple's moving in. Yeah, there's no soundproofing or carpeting because it's an old building, and so it drives down. And because Lady Gaga is autistic and she's particularly, sound sensitive.
Yeah, I
it
completely
drives
understand.
her batty.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
Yeah.
We had when our floors first got installed, we actually had soundproofing installed underneath there, so that way the majority sound that they actually heard was just cats running on the floor. But when shit went sideways with our HVAC system, and not just ours, I mean it was the pipes where all of the condensation pipes for all three units, because we're stacked. We had a common condensation pipe, one pipe for all three units going down, and our HOA, the ones that I'm not going to say who the company is, they didn't think that we had a common pipe. And what a common pipe is basically it connects all the units together to drip out of one exit down on the bottom on the ground floor. And they thought they thought we didn't have a common pipe, that they were all separated. No, turns out the fact that we had a common pipe for all three units. Our unit was separated from the common pipe because we didn't have a clue at the time. And we found out through upstairs running theirs that we had a common pipe because it was dripping down onto ours, which was going down onto the bottom level. And it's like, well, shit.
Ugh.
Now they can't say that it's not a common pipe because it is. It's like, fuck.
Right.
So
Jeez, man.
our HVAC is going to come out. Our HVAC guys are going to come deal with that shit because apparently the one on the weekend did not properly take care of the fucker, attaching the downstairs to the bottom stairs.
You mentioned last time
Because he didn't glue it properly enough, so he's coming out tomorrow. That's going to be separate from all the construction work that's going to be happening here, and it's going to be like, well, fucking shit.
Fun times.
Oh yes,
Oh,
but
I did not want to do that.
I will
Oh,
keep.
shit.
I will keep. Ooh, that didn't look good. But
those insects are biting me.
Ow,
More
ow.
assets. I'm being attacked by assets.
But I figured I'd keep you guys up. I keep our chats up to date on everything that's going on, your chat as well as mine. But yeah, no, that's the chaos of the whole thing. By the way, Taco, for VC, we're actually over in Satokage's VC, and it has been a fucking beyond fucking.
I know you're here.
world.
I'm here too.
Oh, I did. Well, mine. Okay, my Discord has sounds muted while I have the OBS active, so that's why I didn't hear you come in.
I've been here for like the last 8 or so minutes.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, welcome in. A little belated.
Also, since I actually had the beginning part of my stream muted without even realizing it, I got a brand new Xbox controller for the PC for when I played Destiny Rising, so there should be no more drift of me walking backwards when I'm not holding the controller.
Tell me you got one with Hall effect joysticks, please.
No effects. That was actually on.
No. Hall effect is the type of joystick. It's not effects. It's called Hall effect. It's magnetic joysticks, not analog. I told you to talk to me because I had the perfect one to recommend to you.
Well, we had to go to GameStop and get a Power A controller, which is what I got here, because it needed to be a wired controller in the first place.
Yeah, no, mine is wired. Mine is not wireless.
Right, but how much would yours have cost?
Less than yours. Mine cost about 40, 45.
Actually, round about the same, because this one here, base price was around $44 for this.
Oh, then you got lucky.
Well, when I go to
but
GameStop,
does it have Hall effect joysticks though?
I don't know what those are.
Like I said, the Hall effect joysticks. Look it up. They're joysticks that do not get drift ever because they use magnets instead of analog controls. So the magnet is what determines the position. So they're super precise, and there's no wear and tear. So they never get drift. My controller has Hall effect joysticks on it.
Honestly, Cars, I gotta actually let you know that the governing board for our HOA, the one that actually interacts with us, that's made of members from our units, they're actually pretty good. They actually will help out. It's the people that run the company that we're part of that suck rocks.
That is the HOA.
Right, but our governing board is separate from the company themselves.
Oh no, of course, but the HOA is, you're the governing board, but the HOA is the one.
The governing board understands what the hell's going on. It's the company that,
of course,
that the governing board reports to that thought that the line was individual and not common.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta let you guys know this too, because this.
Oh my God! This update with
We're learning so many things today.
Well, no. This is how petty our HOA company is. So, when we got, because we originally had carpeted floors in our house, we got them all changed out with laminate.
I agree, Cars.
Laminate floorboards. And mind you, the rule is the fact that anything outside the unit is HOA controlled. Anything inside is ours to do with as we please. Put nails on the wall, hang up shit, you name it. Well,
right.
When we got our floors installed, our faux wood floors installed, they asked us, "Did you ask permission for it?" And we didn't know we had
Yeah.
to, so we got a letter of approval from the fine folks that were downstairs, and just to make sure the fact that nobody else changed out their floors like we did, they changed it in the HOA rules that we had to get permission for the inside of the place to get it changed for there. It's like, okay, if you want to do that, then you can pay some of our bills. The mortgage is the highest one, so because it clearly state they changed it on us because of us. It's like, no, that's bullshit.
Yeah, no, but that's HOAs in a nutshell. Cars, you couldn't pay me enough to live in an HOA neighborhood. And nobody's gonna tell me what I can do in my house. Exactly, Cars. You and me, we're of the same thought.
Oh yeah, no, we're the same way because right afterwards, Amethyst actually chewed them out for something else, and basically saying the fact that she's not a renter, she is a home owner, and unless you actually want to pay one of our home-owned bills, get the fuck off our case. She didn't put it that way, but you get the gist.
Yeah, the problem is with HOAs, doesn't matter that you're the owner or not. Part of owning it means you're agreeing to the HOA. It's a lot of convoluted shit. Actually, John Oliver did a whole thing on HOAs that you should look at because it'll educate you a lot. In how to deal with them, if anything. It is really fascinating. He goes into excruciating detail.
Yeah.
But okay, hold on, because let me reel it back in for a minute.
Yeah.
Purse. We did cover the whole thing about scale, but your question was what goes into making a game this beautiful and detailed, and we kind of covered half of that at least, right? I demonstrated the concept of scale and all that goes into just the tiniest aspects of any of this, right? Like we're looking at this tree trunk and there's so many assets on this just one tree trunk that is ridiculous. And as a little tangent here for people who like, and I'm not directing this at you and specifically, Chad, but in case you hear people bitching and moaning about any game using reusable assets, all of this is made with reusable assets. That means that these little leaves here that compose that were reused for this. Echo, stop. They were used here, and those were reused to do these here, and those were reused over there, and all of this is reusable fucking assets. This piece of trunk of tree root here, the asset that makes that was reused to make all sorts of other shapes and all other trees over here. The shape that makes this piece of plant, you'll see it be a component or part of something else that's got rendered. So, if you hear players out there, or especially streamers that think they know what they're talking about, yelling about, oh, this is all reusable assets, why don't they just make new assets? It's like telling someone, build me a